Good evening and welcome to Field Talk. I'm the Field, also known as Field of Bears, here to remind you that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide. Boy, I am so very furious that I am messing up on clicking on buttons, but that's quite alright. Now, some more news about the Alex Jones situation has happened. Pinterest has banned Alex Jones and InfoWars. Pinterest. It's like, how even could Pinterest, guys? Pinterest. Hey, Veteran Bear. So, and I don't know if you guys follow Tim Pool, but I just saw a video where the New York Times admitted that media pressure is what got Alex Jones banned from social media, from Facebook and Pinterest and Spotify and YouTube and iTunes. It's just like Alex the Unperson, Alex the Pariah, Alex the Unspeakable. He who must not be named is what they'll soon be calling the man, I'm certain of it. I wonder why. But since it really is really quite horrible, I've decided that I won't be switching hats every night. It'll be a little bit boring, but from now until the time that Alex Jones regains his ability to engage with his audience on a reasonable level, I shall be wearing my war hat. And as I said yesterday, Facebook and YouTube and Spotify and iTunes have all violated Alex Jones' right to an honest contract by defrauding him into an agreement whose terms were nebulous, written as such to be interpreted to be in the executor's favor in any kind of dispute. Yeah, Pinterest, Veteran Bear, Pinterest. This flies in the face of all of contract law. If you sign any kind of contract which has expectations of behavior in its terms, every terminable offense or contravention of those terms is clearly defined, and if in contract law, if any terms are considered to be nebulous or ambiguous, then unless the disambiguation is agreed upon by both parties, then that term of the contract is thrown out entirely. So the fact that these TOS, these terms of service, they violate the expectation of an honest contract, which is, of course, the right to associate freely, which depends on the right to not be defrauded. And all day today, Alex Jones has been slandered. Alex Jones has been called all sorts of names. He's been called a conspiracy theorist. Oh, thank you very much, Veteran Bear. I appreciate that. He's been called a conspiracy theorist. He's been called a purveyor of fake news. He's been called a hate speaker. He's been called a garbage human. He's been called all manner of awful names, which I don't believe that he deserves. And as I said yesterday, the Streisand effect is in full force. For the very first time in years, I listened to InfoWars while I was mucking out the sheep pen. And honestly, it's like I remember it. Like mostly true with some embellishments. Like today he was saying that the the Chinese communists are behind the censorship against him, and while I'm not so sure that they are like directly behind it, like pulling the puppet strings, like master marionette puppet master kind of deal. But do you honestly think that China has no influence on these social media companies? Do you think that the Chinese are particularly pleased with Alex Jones being on these platforms? Do you think that the Chinese connections with the U.S. deep state? Because do you really think there aren't connections between our bureaus, our bureaucracies? Do you really think our bureaucrats don't talk with their bureaucrats? Do you really think that? Like, of course they're influenced on each other, but is it like a puppet master situation, like he was insinuating on his show this morning? I don't know, maybe, probably not. But I've had to eat my words when it comes to thinking Alex Jones is wrong in the past before, so I have a little bit more of an open mind about it, let's say. So I'm furious about the mistreatment of Alex Jones, and it's a private company. It's a private company. They can do whatever they want. They can kick whoever they want off. Argument is really, really starting to grate on me because A, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should, and B, just because you're within your rights to do something doesn't mean that I have no right to criticize it. Like, these two things should be obvious. And what I'll say about the it's a private company, they can kick off whoever they want, is, you know, just because it's a private company who's abusing people, that doesn't mean it isn't abuse. Abuse is bad no matter who does it. You shouldn't abuse people. Corporations shouldn't abuse people, and corporations should feel heat for abuse. Corporations should fear the market. Corporations should think twice before they harm their customers. Well, Lily Dilly Dog, my argument is that the TOS are fraudulent because they're not written in a clear manner that is understandable to anyone at all. You could have an army of lawyers look at the TOS and they still wouldn't be able to tell you what the heck they mean and what is prohibited and what is not. It's like, no. You can't just throw in a rule that you can interpret in any case to give you whatever result you desire. That's the opposite of having rules. That's just being ruled by the whims of whoever happens to be sitting in the executor's chair at the moment. That's the opposite of having terms of service. That's having a caveat of we can do whatever we want to you and you have no recourse. But we're not going to say that. Well, that's not entirely true, Lily Dilly Dog. Lawyers do not mess things up just to have something to do. There's already plenty for lawyers to do with how corporate lawyers anyway. Like there's already plenty for corporate lawyers to do with how people mistreat each other. and the recourse which they turn to the law for. So they don't actually need to do that. So another thing that can be done to make these corporations feel a little bit of heat is to meme on them. Now, when CNN threatened to dox the genius who came up with the Trump wrestling gif, I'm going with GIF. The Trump wrestling gif where Trump smacks the CNN logo superimposed over that wrestler's face. Well, see, Veteran Bear, there are already lawsuits pending against YouTube. Our friend Steven Crowder is currently suing YouTube for all sorts of things, I'm pretty sure. Hello, Debbie Bear. You changed your name to Debbie Ursa. I like it. Very Latin. And so that argument, I think, it doesn't hold water, because if you make an agreement with somebody, that these are the expectations on our end, and these are the expectations on your end, and then you go against that agreement, you're no longer doing what you're no longer acting within your rights. You're doing the opposite of what you said you weren't going to do. You're committing fraud. You're defrauding someone. Oh yeah, Dennis Prager and Steven Crowder are, thank you, the best answers. Thank you very, very much. Barney, welcome. So I'll just keep on circling back to this. Having nebulous terms of service, setting forth rules that are in effect not rules but excuses to abuse people, is not within the right of a company. That is fraudulent. That is dishonest. That is a poor business practice. And that is something that I think YouTube and Facebook and Spotify and Pinterest and Apple and whoever else has been abusing Alex Jones needs to be memed on for. This idea, whoever can come up with a good meme for this, whoever's got that kind of a mind, that kind of a mind, I think that you should just go ahead and meme on them. Let's slip the memes of war. Because like I was saying just earlier, excellent Boulder Bear, welcome. As I was saying earlier, when CNN threatened to dox that guy for that GIF, if you remember, the internet got very, very angry with them because we don't like doxers. We don't like blackmail. Those are things that the internet despises. That is like a clear breach of internet ethics. Nobody, and I mean nobody, supports doxing. And when they do, that's how you can tell when they're a tribal partisan hack. And that is probably one of the lowest blows as far as insult you can throw at somebody, is call them a partisan tribalist hack. And especially when it's true, if it hits home, that is a devastating insult. Oh, what? This Stampy Bear came and then went. Is that what happened? Oh, you came and went, Stampy Bear. I'm glad you came. I'm sad you went. So again, apart from trying to make them feel some economic costs, let's yeah. Well, Pender says he's laying low. I hope. I'm pretty sure he went ahead and watched the video. He didn't comment my video, so I don't know what he thought about it. I would like to know what he thought. Oh, thank you very much, Stampy Bear. If you Stampy Bear has a very very massive hammer. It's very good at driving in nails. It's an excellent tool, very useful. It fits the purpose. It goes right in where it needs to go. So, Stampy Bear, you are excellent. It's like if the social media platforms do censor us, we'll figure out a way around it. Obviously, we'll figure out a way to get our message out. And if anyone, and as I just found out, Gab, no, not Gab, BitChute has been exploding. Everyone's been going over to BitChute to follow Infowars. They're, if you don't want to download their app, they're also on BitChute. I followed them on BitChute, so you can see their videos there, but you can't watch them live there. I don't watch Ben Shapiro because I don't like his voice, but I know that's not a fair reason to not watch somebody, but I just don't like listening to his voice. It sounds irritating to me. It's not fair, I know, but I can't really help it. Yeah, I've had Gab in Minds for months. I had not joined BitChute because I'd been lazy about it. Now I will be taking the recordings, converting them into MP4s, shortening the intro song, and uploading over to BitChute as well. So I don't know what Ben Shapiro says. I can't defend him or attack him on any of that. I have no clue about Ben Shapiro. But if Ben Shapiro is attacking is siding with CNN over Alex Jones. I mean, let's remember that Alex Jones was right about Iraq, and CNN were saying that they had WMDs. Let's remember that one. It's like, anyone want to remember who was right about the WMDs? Because it wasn't CNN, guys. It wasn't CNN. It wasn't CNN, my dudes. But they're definitely not going to stop with Alex Jones, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. So I hereby declare as Grandmaster in the as a Grandmaster Bear of the Unbearables, I declare a meme jihad. I declare a meme jihad against YouTube, a meme jihad against Apple, and a meme jihad against Spotify, and a meme jihad against, what was the other one? Facebook. Did I already say Facebook? Oh, and a meme jihad, even against Pinterest. All of them. I declare meme jihad. Your most spicy and dank memes and your lowest insults to be flung at these disreputable heretics. These contraventioners of freedom of speech and these disreputable miscreants and despondent, disgusting ne'er-do-wells who dislike and destroy freedom and liberty at every opportunity. Let their reputation be in the same can as CNN. And you know what? Don't be afraid to meme on the actual CEOs. Don't be afraid to meme on Mark Zuckerberg, the evil robot. Don't be afraid to meme on Susan Wojcicki, the evil crazy lady. It's like, I don't know. She's not a robot. I like the robot joke for Zuck better. Somebody come up with a great joke for with impronounceable W name. So definitely tomorrow I will be thinking of some ways to. I've already been memeing in favor of Alex Jones and the Infowars today, and so if you can't meme offensively, you can meme constructively. You can meme in favor of Alex Jones, and we all know that Alex Jones loves it when people make hilarious memes of him. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by Jack's tweet and Peter guys. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. You meme by figuring out a way to communicate your idea as quickly as possible, usually through an image or a short length of text, in a way that is memorable or funny, so that it sticks in people's heads and spreads, such as my daily reminders. It's a little bit long for a meme, but the repetition made it come alive. Yeah, and Donald Trump could actually break Facebook and YouTube by joining an alt tech site. He would break them. Oh, you mean Jack the Dave? Okay, yeah, yeah. I did hear about that. The best answers. I did hear that Jack the Dave says that there's no reason to kick Alex Jones off of Twitter, and that's actually good on him. Good on him for not bending to the mob of hysterical left wing journalists who are currently running a smear campaign against Alex Jones because he is their competition and he's winning. I thought I was seeing Alex Jones on Twitter today. Let's check. Yeah, he's here. Alex Jones is still here. Watch, I'll show you. Okay, I gotta. Second. Yeah, see, there he is. Yeah, he's still on there. Okay, so that's good so far. So good for Alex Jones on the twatters. But again, another thing was Infowars official app beat both Google News and CNN in the Apple App Store and Google Play for downloads. It's the number 3 app in the news category. Number 3. That's after one day of this. So I don't think people are just going to let Alex Jones sink into obscurity because the official gatekeepers of information have decided he is an unperson. I don't think people are going to do that. See, Debbie Bear has hit the like button as she is excellent and has a fantastic hammer. It is the perfect hammer for bending metal into shape, and it fits right where it needs to go. Oh, do you mean computing forever the best answers? Is that who you mean by computer guy? Oh, Veteran Bear. I don't know if Veteran Bear hit like, so his hammer doesn't get a compliment. And yeah, so the other subject I wanted to touch on today, I'm going to move on from. Yeah, I did. Actually, I'm not sure if I did see the new Competing Forever video. Was it the response to the New Zealand interview? Is that what you're talking about? What we learned from the New Zealand interview? The best answers is talking about Dave Cullen, also known as Competing Forever, who is an excellent YouTuber, talks about liberty and freedom and all that good stuff. And yeah, he is on Minds, he is on Gab. I don't know if he's on BitChute. He should get onto BitChute. I don't know how to operate BitChute very well, so I'm just going to be uploading the videos manually. So yeah, and I think I've been subscribed to. I've been subscribed to Dave Cullen ever since I first learned about voluntarism and anarchy and all that good stuff. So he was like a really big part of my intellectual journey from generic Republican to okay. I already have sticks on my BitChute. I didn't know that Sargon was on there, but I did find the InfoWars channel on BitChute. So again, it's like we need to be building up a presence on the alternative sites, because as we saw when MySpace died, everyone who was already on Twitter just like they were riding high. They were king on the mountain when everyone moved over to Twitter, and everyone who was already on Facebook also, like their profiles suddenly got like massive boosts because they were already established. Their ideas, their posts were already spread throughout the network, and new members of the network are more likely to be exposed to already established accounts, established kind of pathways of information. So if we as everyone needs to be going on to alt tech and attempting to get their ideas into the information flow and become established in that manner. So, and and the best answers bringing up Competing Forever is an excellent thing, because I watched the Dave Cullen response to that interview, and he's right. It is worse than the the Kathy Newman Jordan B. Peterson video. It was worse than that, and so it's like the thing that stuck with me, and I'm sure it's stuck with everyone else who's seen it, is the interview guy who, according to Space Battleship, shout out to my boy, he's probably watching this on replay later. So, according to Space Battleship, he is actually a famous politics reporter in New Zealand. And this guy asked Lauren Southern about multiculturalism, and so she starts to explain that having multiple cultures in the same geographical area can't really work. They need to integrate into each other in order to live peacefully, and that kind of thing. It starts to bring forward her very excellent criticism of multiculturalism. And so the guy just stops her, and then tries to. He just stops her and asks, "So do you think like I can't do Kiwi? Do you think that New Zealand is a weak country?" And so she answers him. She frames her answer in the form of a question, a rhetorical question that is designed to get him and the audience to think about their preconceptions around multiculturalism and diversity. So, but instead of thinking about her answer, he just goes, "You didn't answer my question. Are you gonna answer the question? Are you gonna answer the question?" And then directly after that, I can't. It's like with not like if you were reading it, it would be in the same paragraph. Directly after this, he asks Stefan Molyneux about about his position. Well, no, not about his dealing with the subject of race and IQ and the existent disparities, which are not exactly comfortable to talk about because they pose a pretty daunting societal challenge. And not everyone stands up to things that are daunting. So directly after that, he asks about race and IQ, and Stefan Molyneux starts going into the science and history and how well established it is, and how it's not actually his opinions, it's just the data, and he's trying to figure out, he's getting as many voices as possible to figure out what to do with this data and what can be done about it. And he goes, no, stop, no, we can't. It's like, you're not going to let me answer the question? No, I'm not. No, you're on a rant. I'm sorry, I can't rant. You're on a rant. Go, apparently, you're on a rant. And so it's like, someone, if Space Battleship can comment later and let us know, because suddenly I'm thinking, does rant mean something different in New Zealand than it does in the rest of the Anglosphere? Because rant to me means it means a speech or a succession of statements made with a high level of anger and no regard for the listener. That's what rant means to me. That's what I think that rant means. But does it mean something different in New Zealand? And then so it's like, is it not what it means? Because to me it sounds like he's saying facts and statements which I disagree with are a rant, are emotionally charged, and I don't like them. I think that's what he's saying. That's what I think he's saying. Am I getting like a cultural disconnect here? And then later he's talking about the interview with a morning news panel. He's saying that he doesn't understand a word of what he's trying to criticize. He didn't bother to research. He didn't bother to read up on his subjects. And he's sitting there calling them names while admitting that he understood nothing. And that's what makes me furious about the Molyneux and Lauren Southern trip to New Zealand. This guy is literally slandering people that he knows nothing about and understands none of their arguments because he doesn't bother. He's lazy and stupid. Yeah, Boulder Bear, facts or rants mean? Facts are rants. Let's again another. It's like, let's go ahead and this guy should get the Kathy Newman treatment. I'm serious. He should. This is the line. You're going a rant is dumber than. So what you're saying is we should organize society based on the lobsters. I am not joking you. That line is legitimately dumber. And so he should definitely get the Kathy Newman treatment. And so, like, stills from the interview and choice quotes would make great memes. And I already saw a great one. It was just the still of the juxtaposition between asking Lauren Southern if she would answer the question, and then Stefan Molyneux saying that he won't let him answer the question. Yeah, lazy and stupid seems like a pretty good descriptor of the kind of person who gets hired to be a journalist in the city these days. I don't know if it's ever been entirely different. Let's go ahead and oh yeah, this is my show. Like, he's talking like my God, like ah, you know, just I'm sorry. This is my show. This is my show. I'm sorry. It's like Kiwi is an accent that's really difficult for me to. I'm sorry, Space Battleship. I'm sorry, Kiwi Bear. I'm very, very sorry. I did try. Uh, I did try to sound good. However, I'm just not particularly great at that accent. But this is my show. I mean, like, does he not understand that he's talking to? He's actually talking to two people who run shows in the most hostile environment to running a show possible, the internet. And one of them does call-in shows. A huge, like 4 hour long call-in show. Yeah, I can hear the difference between Australian and Kiwi, but it's very difficult to make my throat actually do the difference in sound. I can hear it, but I can't make it. I guess it's like I guess it's like Chinese people and L's. They can hear the L. They just can't make the L because they weren't exposed to English at a young enough age. And that's actually the whole reason for that the whole missing L's in hello when many Asian people learn to do English. It's just because they hadn't been exposed to English at a young enough age to where they never gained the muscle memory for making those mouth shapes in order to make the sounds that are existent in English but not in Mandarin or Cantonese or other Asian languages such as Korean and Vietnamese and like I think there's 40 others in that are commonly spoken in the Orient, that area of Asia that don't have some of the sounds that English does have, which is again why that accent is usually very thick, especially when there are people who are. Yeah, that was weird. But yeah, that's a little bit of a sidebar. Little bit of a sidebar. Back to the subject at hand. So they run. He runs a 4 hour long call-in show, and he has had to deal with guests who kind of meander off topic, or try to dominate the conversation, or don't deal with his arguments. But he never just says, we're not talking about this. We're going to go ahead and change subjects because this is my show. No, we're not. No, it's my show, so I say no. He never says that. He never says that on his call-in show. Ever. He never treats a guest like that. And for this guy just to go, no, it's my show. He can't read. It's like for this guy to just want to get away from the subject as quickly as possible because he didn't get the Nazi answer that he wanted, and just to say, this is my show. We're going to talk about what I want, or I'm ending the show. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home, and you can't play with me anymore. It's just unbelievable. And then on top of that, I watched another video called The Interview That You Didn't See on Mainstream Media. And it was this other Kiwi person. I don't know if they're like mainstream or not. Might have been like a Kiwi YouTuber, maybe, which would have been cool. And it was this long interview with very respectful, some hostile questioning, some kind of misconceptions that needed to be cleared up, some kind of hardball questions. But the interviewer, she gave Lauren and Stefan plenty of room, plenty of time, plenty of leeway to give well-formulated, well-thought-out answers that could clearly articulate their positions or the facts that they're bringing to bear. And so when they're talking about being deplatformed from a venue that they had a contract with and that had sold out to an audience that wanted to go to the venue, it's like something happened in between the yes, we know what we're getting into, and no, you can't come on our property or we're calling the cops. Something happened in between there, and it probably wasn't complaints. It probably wasn't people calling them up and saying that that Stefan and Lauren are racist, sexist, homophobe, Islamophobe, bigot, poopy heads. It's probably something a little bit more substantial than that happened. Probably something just a little bit more, shall we say, motivating happened to get from, we know that your message is controversial and will bring a lot of heat down in our venue, and we are ready for it, and we actually care about freedom of speech in order for you to, we care about freedom of speech and we care about these ideas being debated in an open forum and being proven or disproven by reason and evidence. It goes that's a pretty strong stance, and to go from that to don't come on my property or I will have you arrested, to go from that from here, that's like up here, right? The we love freedom of speech position, that's up here, and the come on my property and you'll be arrested, that is way the hell over here. To get from here to way over there, there's like something really, really important must have happened that we are not getting the full picture of, guys. My dudes, something terrible happened in New Zealand, I'm telling you. It doesn't make sense just that they got name called out of a venue. Nefarious ins? Nefariousness? I don't know if nefariousness is a word, but yeah, something really nefarious did go down. There was some real skullduggery, I'm saying. That's seriously not good. Double plus on good. Like, we're getting tons of airstrip countries. We've got airstrip 1 where Teetopia used to be. We've got airstrip 2 where Maple Syrup Land used to be. And now apparently we have airstrip 3 where Kiwi Island used to be. And I don't like having these Orwellian airstrip countries where nation states used to be. Nefarious. Yeah, it is a word spelled correctly, nefariousness. Now I recognize it. Thank you very much. It's the best answer. So, alright, in closing, Alex Jones has the right to honest contracts. Corporations do not have the right to craft their terms of service in such a way that they absolve them of any decision that they might care to make, while placing obligations on the other side of the contract. No, they can't absolve themselves of their end of the contract by writing ambiguous terms of service and not disambiguating them in such a way that both parties agree to the terms. New Zealanders have the right to go to an event that they bought tickets to. New Zealanders have a right to hear ideas, to listen to people that they sought out on purpose. Stefan Molyneux and Lauren Southern have the right to have their contract with the venue upheld without awful people making threats against the venue. They have the right to, because that's what I think happened. I think that there were terroristic threats in New Zealand in Airstrip 3. And you're right, the heckler's veto is not a part of freedom of speech. You don't have a right to somebody else's venue. If somebody else has a venue that they've paid for or contracted for in some way, you don't have a right to it. You don't have a right to someone else's Twitter. You don't have a right to someone else's speaking engagement. You don't have a right to someone else's YouTube channel. You don't have a right to you don't even have a right to be in my chat if I don't like you. Because that's my venue. But I do like you, and I like everyone who disagrees with me too. But what you do have a right to is everything that had already been agreed on. You have a right to expect your agreement to be upheld. You have a right to expect the other party of the contract to hold up their end of the deal. And when they don't hold up their end of the deal, when they change the deal on you after they've already let you down, that's a violation. That's fraud. That makes the concept of freedom of speech weaker. That makes the discourse weaker. That makes the ability to communicate your ideas less effective on any side. Because the tools of censorship will end up in the hand of the tyrant who hates you, no matter if you're on the side of the tyrant who loves you now. Because the tyranny always turns on who puts it up. Every single time. Every time. Ask the Trotskyites. Ask the Maoists. Ask the so-called flunkies in North Korea. The people who wanted to imitate Stalin in North Korea. Ask them. Because, they helped the general, the great general, President for eternity, Kim Il-sung, Welcome, Space Battleship. We have been talking about your airstrip. Airstrip 3. I'm sorry, Kiwi Island doesn't get to keep its fun nickname anymore. It's an airstrip, and I'm wearing my war hat. I don't like airstrip countries being where nation states used to be. And while I think that a stateless society is preferable to a nation state, I find the nation state eminently preferable to the superstate. And we don't need to have a superstate. We don't need empire. Empire is not good for anybody. Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie Bear. We're up on the end here in a minute. So, what I want to leave you with this. If the culture doesn't respect open inquiry and doesn't respect honesty and integrity, then it will devolve into tribal violence. Tribal mobs shouting at each other to get what they want. And if shouting doesn't work, they'll turn to violence. Just like every culture that has tribal divisions. Every culture that lacks honesty and freedom of speech and negotiation devolves into tribal violence, into red team bad, blue team good, red team good, blue team bad, smack bad team with clubs. Every single time. And some people might think that they want violence. Some people might think that they really want to bash the Pash. Some people might, and that they can just label whoever they don't like as Fash. Some people might think that they want to have an ethnic or political or whatever kind of cleansing. But the cleansing is never clean. It's always ugly and bloody, and the people who you wanted to protect always end up getting hurt and killed. So, the values of freedom of speech and honest contracts have to be fought for with every ounce of our strength. We cannot give any ground on either of these fronts. There is no freedom of speech, but there is no fair contracts, but because those are the only things that let us live together with people who disagree with us humanly in a relatively civilized manner. That's what keeps us all from getting murdered. And to those people out there who think that instigating a civil war will let them finally get rid of the bad team, there's a high probability that whatever team you think is bad might win. Because nobody is ever prepared for a war, and civil war, least of all. It's always more horrific than anyone expects. And the one who wins, the one with the most will, the one with the hardest heart, the one willing to see the most bloodshed. And while the communists want to lump libertarians, moderate conservatives in with actual fascists who have much more in common with the socialists, these two socialist factions want to lump their enemies all in together and pit us and make us choose a side over which kind of socialism should be eminent. Whoever has the most will And there's not really a guarantee it'll be those of us who want to save you from your own murderous ideology. If it comes down to violence, the libertarians might not win, and we might not be able to save you from your own stupidity. We might lose to you, and that would lead to starvation and genocide. But we might lose to the fascists, and that would lead to you going up against the wall, and then starvation and genocide. So, if anyone watching this now happens to be a communist, and maybe you are watching this out of hatred, I would seriously reconsider your position on civil war, because it won't end good for anybody. At all. And I'm not confident over which side can win. And I don't think it would be good. If you enjoyed the stream, go ahead and hit that like button. And you can subscribe to catch the next one and hit the bell if you want to be notified. There are links to the following places, including my Gavin Minds, in the description below this video, as well as a link to paypal.me/fieldtalk if you want to sow the field and get on the wall of fame. 200 subscribers and I will wear that chicken hat you see in the background for an entire hour, and it will be glorious. This has been Field Talk with the Field, also known as Field of Bears. A great night, and never forget that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide.